there is a process called AOI. An automatic optical inspection relies on a camera system to detect defects in the PCB. This also needs a certain level of lighting, which is bright enough and has the right spectrum and consistency and is not affected by reflexes or artifacts, which influence the quality inspection.
Welcome back, Florian.
Hello, Michael.
So for those of us who are not familiar with who you are, could you quickly, briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah, hello. I am Florian Heike, founder and CEO of Celinius Company Limited. And for more than 20 years, we help entrepreneurs turn their ideas into manufacturable products out of Asia. Or in other words, when somebody comes up with a prototype and they would like to make a product that they can sell in series, we help them to do this to avoid that becoming a boomerang, hunting them back.
Okay, thanks. So from our previous conversations, we've learned that you specialize in special lighting as one of your main areas of expertise. Can you quickly go over how you help clients with sourcing special lighting?
When it comes to special lighting, the word special is what's important, because when you sell a special lighting application, you differentiate from what's commonly available on the market and you focus on delivering specific characteristics of the lighting to your customer or to the application you're serving. Sounds very abstract, but coming down to the reality is when you wake up in the morning, you tend to have a very bluish light. When you try to have a glass of wine with your girlfriend at the beach in the evening, you tend to have a reddish light. This is the characteristics of our sun, giving a special feeling for free. Well, when you are in a setup or in a machine or in an environment, you try to achieve a certain feeling normally with a light, if it's in an artistic situation, or a special effect, let's say a specific wavelength interacts with a specific material, such as a glue or a paint or a material. And you want to make sure that this special characteristics is delivered reliably.
Okay, great. That's a very concise explanation for those just coming new to the channel. So what are the benefits of special lighting for manufacturing processes specifically?
Well, the light itself normally is never the primary focus. The light normally helps you to achieve a certain outcome. So for instance, when I have a UV cured gluing process, why do you use a UV cured glue? I mean, everybody at home, when the kids build their little things, you wait and then they dry off, right? But in manufacturing, you often don't have the time for that. You want to attach a glue, you want to cure it, and you want to move on, and you want to be able to package it. So the process time is one of the outcomes. For this, you use UV light. Or when you are at a quality inspection of your product, for instance, for textiles, you want to make sure the colors are right. You need a wide spectrum and a reliable spectrum to make sure that the outcome of your textile product or whatever it is, printed matter, the color is right. And that you need to have a defined color. That's why there's a standard for printing matters inspection, how to do this. Another example is when you are in a medical field. Your surgeon that's cutting open your body and tries to find out something that's not right. If he doesn't have a good light, he doesn't know what's right and what's wrong. So the spectrum of a surgery light has another characteristics. Or if you are taking, especially photographers, they're very picky about the light because they know the effect of lighting on the image that you create. A wavelength that's not in the light will not show up on the picture or will influence it. So it very much depends on this application. And that's about what, when it comes to special lighting, is you need to know what you're aiming for and that you have to deliver reliably.
Can you share some of the questions that clients come to you? And when we say clients, I think we're talking about the entrepreneurs, the engineers, the procurement professionals. What are some of the main questions that they come to you with that they rely on your expertise?
Well, usually, what I say, usually they address something they're not happy with. Yeah, so that means that there's something they experience which they think it should not be like that.
So they basically have already tried to solve this special lighting problem and realize they didn't get it quite right.
Yes. Yeah. For instance, if you have like if you take an iPhone camera and you start having some lines, right? Why? I don't see the lines when I look at the place, but why in the video I have the lines? Yeah, because you have a ripple on your light, and that is interacting with the capture frequency of your phone camera. Okay, so there's an issue. Or you want to have the light has a decay. Yeah, LED lights with poor phosphors often become bluish or pinkish in the light over time. And yeah, those people that are more picky on the color, they will say, no, I don't want that. Give me an idea how to prevent this. Yeah, it's usually things that, I mean, we're not reinventing the world, right? I mean, photos and all of those processes have been undertaken for a long time. Yeah, then you would have to understand where the problem is. Yeah, but usually this is actually what happens. You have somebody who finds out there is something wrong and they believe there is a better way to solve it. I mean, look, think about it. When we had our little Nokia phones, right? And there was a little camera inside. The picture did not look really cool, right? And now think about what we have now on the latest cell phones. They make fantastic pictures.
Yeah, there were enough people who decided the Nokia phone picture quality wasn't quite good enough, which led to the advancement of better and better cameras and smaller form factors, right?
Yeah, and then and in the process of doing so, they killed the digital camera.
Right. Yeah. Although some very young kids are finding their parents' digital cameras and playing with them, and this is making a comeback. But I'm not sure how long it's going to last.
I mean, but if you consider 15 years ago how many digital cameras there were, and that was a huge market, and now it literally becomes a very small niche market because the cell phone cameras are just so good. And that's an example of innovation where people address something within a certain form factor they were not happy with and keep improving them. Of course, it needs a certain market size to justify it. And this is also the challenge for many niche market players. Even though there might be a technical solution to achieve what they want, but can it be achieved at a justifiable price?
Mm-hmm. Right. There's so many compromises that need to be made, and then it's really up to your team and your client to figure out what's the compromise that matters.
Yeah, what compromise matters, and usually you need to figure out where your key point is, where you want to address an issue that is relevant for a sufficiently large audience, or at least a specifically deep-pocketed enough audience that is willing to pay for it. I mean, the sports car industry is another example where this kind of perfection is taken to another level. Or if you're on yachts, mega yachts. How many mega yachts are there? Only few.
Mm-hmm.
But they have the money to pay for all of these innovations. And of course, that's why these products have an incredibly high price and an incredibly slow and small number of units that are actually being sold.
So for manufacturing, special lighting is very important. Is that correct?
No, it's as important as any other things. So I wouldn't say it is important, but it's one of the items that in certain processes you need. Give another example. In the electronic manufacturing process, there is a process called AOI, Automatic Optical Inspection. And the automatic optical inspection relies on the camera system to detect defects in the PCB. But then, of course, this also needs a certain level of lighting, which is bright enough and has the right spectrum and consistency and is not affected by reflexes or other artifacts which influence the quality inspection. Yeah, as another example. Or when you go back to school, when you're in your science lab, the lighting in the microscope, also very important to allow you to really see the specimen clearly. So depends on the application.